Listen to me carefully, because this is not a coincidence that you are hearing these words right now. You did not arrive here by accident. There is a reason your heart feels stirred, a reason something inside you would not let you scroll past. Heaven has been watching your tears, your silence, your restraint. The pain you never explained to anyone was never hidden from God. Every sleepless night, every moment you swallowed your words instead of defending yourself. Every time you chose peace instead of revenge, it was all seen. And today, the Spirit is saying something you must receive with faith. Justice has already begun. You wondered if what was done to you would ever be addressed. You questioned whether wrong could continue without consequence. You watched those who hurt you move forward as if nothing happened. And in those moments your heart asked quietly, "Lord, do you see?" Hear this with certainty. He saw everything. Not a single word spoken against you disappeared into silence. Not a single betrayal was ignored. The delay was never denial. The waiting was never abandonment. What you mistook as silence was preparation. What looked like inaction was alignment. Because divine justice does not rush, it arrives at the appointed time. There are moments when God allows truth to unfold, slowly so that no one can deny his hand. When justice comes from heaven, it is unmistakable. It does not need explanation. It does not require defense. It speaks for itself. And right now, even if you cannot yet see every detail, movement has begun. Something shifted in the unseen realm. Something turned in your favor. The balance has started to correct. What was hidden is being revealed. What was distorted is being made clear. What was taken is being restored. You must understand something deeply. Justice is not only about consequences for others. It is also about healing for you. God is not only addressing what was done, he is restoring what it did to your heart. The wounds you carried quietly are not permanent. The heaviness you grew used to was never meant to be your identity. You are not defined by betrayal. You are not marked by rejection. You are not trapped in the moment of pain. You are being lifted from it. There is a reason you survived what should have broken you. There is a reason your spirit did not collapse even when your strength did. Something greater was holding you together. Grace preserved you. Mercy covered you. And justice waited for the perfect moment. Because when God defends someone, he does it completely. He does not offer partial restoration. He restores dignity. He restores peace. He restores clarity. He restores what was stolen internally, not only externally. Some of you listening carried confusion for a long time. You replayed conversations. You wondered if you misunderstood. You questioned your own perception. But today, clarity is being released. You are beginning to see what you could not see before. The truth is becoming undeniable, and as clarity increases, so does freedom. Confusion loses power when truth enters the room, and God is bringing truth where deception once lived. You may not hear loud announcements. You may not witness dramatic scenes. Divine justice often moves quietly but powerfully. Circumstances shift. Doors close. Exposures happen. Alignments change. Those who intended harm encounter consequences not by your hand, but by divine order. You do not need to fight for vindication. You do not need to prove your innocence. Heaven has already spoken on your behalf. Release the burden of carrying what God never asked you to hold. Release the need to monitor what happens next. Release the weight of watching and waiting for proof. Faith does not demand visible evidence to believe. Faith rests in the character of God. And his character is just. His nature is faithful. His timing is perfect. What begins in the unseen will soon be recognized in the seen. Some of you became tired of hoping. You protected your heart by expecting nothing. But hope is being awakened again. Not fragile hope, but anchored hope. The kind that does not depend on people changing, but on God acting. The kind that does not fluctuate with circumstances, but stands on promise. You are entering a season where peace will not depend on explanation. Closure will not require conversation. Resolution will not require confrontation. God himself is bringing completion. Listen closely. Justice is not revenge. Justice is order restored. Justice is truth established. Justice is balance returned. And when God restores balance, he does it with wisdom beyond human understanding. What comes next in your life will not only compensate for what was lost, it will reposition you, it will redirect you, it will place you where pain cannot follow. You have carried patience longer than you wanted. You have walked away when you could have fought. You have remained silent when you could have exposed. That restraint was not weakness, it was obedience. And obedience always leads to divine intervention. You honored God with your response, and now He is honoring you with His justice. Right now, even as you listen, peace is entering places inside you that were restless. Relief is replacing tension. Assurance is replacing doubt. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are seen, you are known, and you are defended. Receive this truth in your spirit. What happened did not end your story. It positioned you for restoration. What was meant to diminish you is becoming the place where God reveals His faithfulness. Justice has already begun, and what unfolds next will not bring fear, it will bring freedom. Take a slow breath and release the weight you have been carrying. The battle you thought you had to fight alone has never been yours. Heaven has already moved. The turning has already started. And very soon, you will recognize what God has done. And now something deeper must be understood, because when divine justice begins, it does not only change circumstances, it changes perception. The same situation that once made you feel powerless is losing its grip. You are no longer standing in the same emotional place. Something inside you has shifted. Strength is rising where exhaustion once lived. Calm is replacing the constant questioning. This is not accidental. This is restoration beginning from within. You remember the weight you carried when everything felt unfair. You remember how silence from others felt louder than words. You remember asking why truth seemed delayed. But heaven was never delayed. Heaven was precise. Timing was being prepared so that what unfolds cannot be reversed, cannot be denied, cannot be misunderstood. When God moves, He does not correct one detail. He realigns the entire path. You may notice small signs before large ones. A sense of release you cannot explain. A sudden peace where anxiety used to live. Conversations that shift unexpectedly. Situations that once blocked you now opening without struggle. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. The invisible movement of justice always becomes visible through change. And change is already touching your life. Understand this clearly. What was meant to weaken you has strengthened your spirit. What was meant to silence you has refined your voice. What was meant to isolate you has deepened your connection with God. Nothing was wasted. Pain did not win. Delay did not defeat you. Pressure did not destroy you. You were being shaped, not abandoned. There are seasons when God allows you to walk through misunderstanding so that truth can be revealed with greater authority. If you had been defended immediately, people would have credited circumstances. But when justice arrives after patience, no one can question the source. Your endurance has prepared a testimony that cannot be erased. Some of you still carry memories that feel heavy when they return. Moments you wish never happened. Words you wish you never heard. But hear this, memories lose their power when meaning changes, and God is changing the meaning of what you experienced. What once represented loss will soon represent deliverance. What once felt like defeat will become evidence of protection. You are not reliving pain, you are witnessing transformation. There is also something important you must release today, the desire to understand. Every detail of how justice unfolds, the human mind seeks explanation, but faith trusts outcome. You do not need to know every step God takes. You only need to trust that He acts with wisdom beyond what you can see. The moment you release the need to control the process, peace becomes steady instead of temporary. You were never asked to carry the responsibility of correction. You were never assigned the task of repayment. Vengeance was never your calling. Your calling was faithfulness, and you fulfilled it even when it was difficult. Now divine order is taking over where human effort could not reach. There are people who underestimated your resilience. They believed pressure would break your spirit. They believed silence meant weakness. They believed time would erase truth. But what they did not understand is that when a person stands under God's covering, outcomes are not determined by human intention. Outcomes are determined by divine authority. and authority has already spoken in your favor. You may feel an unfamiliar calmness emerging. Do not resist it. That calmness is not denial of what happened. It is freedom from its control. Healing does not erase memory, but it removes pain's power to define you. This is why you feel different. The wound that once reacted to every reminder is becoming a place of strength instead of sensitivity. Let your heart receive this gently. Restoration does not always look like returning to what was. Often it looks like being led somewhere better. You are not being taken back to the same emotional place, the same relationships, the same environment. You are being repositioned where peace can remain. Justice is not only about correction behind you, it is about direction ahead of you. Even now, doors you never expected are being prepared. Opportunities aligned with your growth are approaching. People who recognize your value are being placed along your path. And the most important change of all, you are beginning to recognize your own worth again. What others misjudged no longer determines how you see yourself. There were moments you doubted your voice, moments you questioned your decisions, moments you wondered if staying silent was a mistake. But your restraint allowed God to act without interference. When human reaction steps back, divine action steps forward. And what God establishes does not require defense. Some of you carried hidden grief because justice felt delayed. But delay was protection. If everything had unfolded sooner, you would not have been ready to receive it with strength. Now you stand different than before. You stand wiser, calmer, clearer. Now when justice becomes visible, it will not overwhelm you. It will confirm you. Let go of the habit of expecting disappointment. Let go of bracing yourself for more hurt. That posture belonged to a previous season. You are not in that season anymore. You are not surrounded by the same spiritual atmosphere. The shift has already begun. You are walking forward while what harmed you remains behind. You may notice that anger is losing its intensity. Questions are losing urgency. The need for explanation is fading. This is not indifference. This is healing. When God restores the heart, He removes the constant tension of unresolved pain. You are not forgetting. You are being freed. Receive this deeply. You were never overlooked. Even when no one defended you, you were defended. Even when no one acknowledged truth, truth remained alive. Even when you felt alone, you were surrounded by divine attention. Nothing escaped God's sight. Nothing escaped His memory. Nothing escaped His justice. The restoration unfolding now is not temporary relief. It is lasting alignment. Peace that does not depend on circumstances. Confidence that does not depend on approval. Stability that does not depend on explanation. You are being established in a place where external events cannot shake internal peace. Do not rush this process. Do not demand immediate visible proof. The greatest movements often begin quietly. Roots grow before branches appear. Foundations strengthen before structures rise. What is being built in your life now will support what is coming next. And what is coming is not merely compensation for what was lost. It is elevation, growth beyond previous limits, understanding beyond previous confusion, strength beyond previous endurance. The very area where you experienced injustice is becoming the place where God demonstrates His faithfulness most clearly. Stand in this moment with trust. Breathe without fear. Expect peace instead of disruption. Expect clarity instead of confusion. Expect forward movement instead of stagnation. Because justice has already begun, and restoration is no longer a distant promise. It is a present reality, unfolding step by step. Stay with this moment and let your spirit become still. Because what is unfolding now is not only about what has already begun. It is about what is being completed. When divine justice moves, it does not leave anything unfinished. What started as quiet movement in the unseen is becoming firm ground beneath your feet. You are no longer standing in uncertainty. You are standing in transition. And transition is the bridge between what wounded you and what will strengthen you. You have walked through a season where questions had no answers. You lived in a space where silence seemed louder than truth. Yet even in that silence, God was not absent. He was arranging outcomes beyond what your eyes could measure. He was preparing restoration beyond what your mind could imagine. He was positioning you where healing would not be temporary but permanent. There is something sacred about endurance. Endurance is not passive suffering. It is active trust. It is the decision to remain steady when emotion urges reaction. It is the strength to continue when clarity has not yet arrived. And you endured. You remained. You trusted when evidence was not visible. Because of that, what is coming into your life now carries depth, not just relief. You may begin to notice that the weight you once carried so tightly is no longer yours to hold. Situations that once occupied your thoughts constantly are losing importance. The emotional charge is dissolving. This is not forgetfulness, this is release. When God restores, He does not merely change external conditions. He reorders internal priorities. Your peace is no longer negotiable. Your heart is no longer vulnerable to the same wounds. You are being guarded in a way you were not before. Understand this truth fully. Justice from God is never chaotic. It is precise, measured, and purposeful. It does not create confusion. It establishes order. What unfolds next in your life will not feel forced. It will not feel rushed. It will feel aligned. Doors will open without strain. Answers will arrive without conflict. Direction will become clear without pressure. This is how divine movement reveals itself, not through noise, but through certainty. There were times when you believed you had lost something irreplaceable. Time, trust, opportunity, peace. But restoration does not return fragments. It returns fullness. What God restores carries greater strength than what was lost. The place in you that once held pain is becoming a place that holds wisdom. The space once filled with grief is becoming space filled with discernment. You are not returning to who you were. You are becoming who you were meant to be. Some of you feared that justice would come with turmoil. But divine justice does not bring chaos into your life. It removes chaos from it. It simplifies what was complicated. It clarifies what was confusing. It stabilizes what was uncertain. You will not need to chase closure. Closure will settle over your heart, like calm after a storm. Listen carefully to this promise being spoken into your spirit. Nothing that was meant for you will be withheld. What was delayed for protection will arrive with purpose. What seemed blocked will become accessible. What seemed distant will come near. You are not moving toward loss. You are moving toward alignment. You may look back soon and realize that what once caused deep sorrow now holds no power over you. That realization will not come through effort. It will come through transformation. Healing does not ask permission from memory. It replaces its meaning. You will remember without pain. You will reflect without heaviness. You will speak without trembling. That is freedom. There is also a strengthening happening within your voice. You are learning that truth does not require defense when God is your defender. You are learning that peace is not weakness but authority under control. You are learning that silence, when guided by wisdom, speaks louder than reaction. This inner authority is part of your restoration. You are not only being healed, you are being established. Do not be surprised when opportunities appear that once seemed impossible. Do not be surprised when favor replaces resistance. Do not be surprised when people respond differently to you than before. You are carrying a different presence now. Peace changes how you stand. Healing changes how you speak. Confidence rooted in God changes how others perceive you. This is not performance, it is transformation. Some of you held on to pain because it was the only proof of what you endured. But you no longer need pain as proof. Your survival is proof. Your growth is proof. Your peace is proof. The story is no longer about what happened to you. It is about what God did for you through it. Receive this deeply in your heart. The season of striving is ending. You do not need to push for recognition. You do not need to force resolution. You do not need to carry vigilance as protection. God is establishing security around you that does not depend on your effort. Rest is not withdrawal, it is trust in action. And as this restoration completes its work within you, gratitude will replace heaviness. Not gratitude for pain, but gratitude for preservation. Gratitude for guidance you could not see. Gratitude for strength you did not know you had. Gratitude for justice that arrived exactly when it should. What you once feared would define your future is now behind you. What once seemed permanent has proven temporary. What once felt overwhelming has been brought under divine order. You are not walking away defeated. You are walking forward refined. Let your heart accept the peace that is settling within you now. Let your mind release the habit of revisiting what God has already addressed. Let your spirit stand in quiet assurance. You are not waiting for justice. You are witnessing its completion. The path ahead is not marked by what was taken from you, but by what is being given to you. Stability where there was instability, clarity where there was confusion, strength where there was weariness, joy where there was heaviness. This is not distant hope. This is present reality unfolding one step at a time. Take this truth with you and hold it without doubt. You were seen, you were protected, you were defended, and now you are being restored. Justice has already begun, restoration is already unfolding, and peace is already yours. Walk forward without fear. The chapter shaped by pain has closed. The chapter shaped by divine faithfulness has opened. And what lies ahead will not echo what was behind. It will reveal what was always prepared for you. Amen.